Friday night here at the Politics Bar. You got your Jody Hamilton, you got your me, Sean Smith-Pierce, and we have the one and only State Senator from Iowa, Zach Wahls, hoping to be the U.S. Senator from Iowa. At least it'll be easier. That way you have your thing that says Senator. It's just, you just change that. Just, it's fine. So
Someone did say that to me the other day. We were on an MSNBC show. I was like, oh yeah, Zach, Senator Wahls. I like the sound of that. It's like, that's what they have called me for the last 8 years. Although sometimes a little weird every time.
Well, it is. Look, we live in a very weird time. The fact that you ran into Jody when you were out doing something in California there, and that I know you and I know a bunch of people from Iowa because obviously I grew up there a little bit. I went to college for a couple of years, and then I was on the Obama-Biden campaign. Nancy and Bobo in the Des Moines area. Let's see, Cheryl Fasano. She's down in Florida now, but she used to be there. Let's see, Andrea Phillips, Misty Rebick. Whole bunch of people.
I was literally just texting with Misty the other day. She's working for Senator Bernie Sanders out in Washington now.
Nice.
Yep. Nice. So look, this is old home kind of thing.
Yeah.
We are glad you're here at the bar, but I gotta say, this is not an easy race. Your opponent, Josh, I mean, he's another good Democrat. I've had some people in my social media feeds they're futzing and fighting between the two of you. And I'm like, you guys, we need every Democrat and some of the independents and some of the Republicans to be voting for whoever gets the nomination when that happens. And obviously, when you know somebody, you want them to do well, which is why we're here with you. But why should Iowans vote for Zach Wahls? I know I could say, but I mean, you're here.
Well, first of all, let me just say, thrilled to be here. I wish I had an actual drink in hand. I've got a red Solo cup.
That'll work.
That's fine. I got a coffee cup with water. It's all good.
I have 2 Coke Zeros as well, so we're fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, we're really excited about the momentum of the campaign. For those of you who are hearing my name for the first time, I'm a 2-term state senator. My work in politics started about 15 years ago. I gave a short speech to the Iowa legislature about growing up with my 2 moms, Jackie and Terry, defending marriage equality here in Iowa. We were one of the first states in America recognizing the freedom to marry for couples like my parents. A video of that speech went kind of mega viral, turned my life totally upside down. I was thinking civil engineering. I was going to go build bridges and stuff. Instead, find myself, having to fight for families like mine. But I learned a lot from that experience, how to win people over, how to find common ground. It took me all over the state, all over the country. And then in 2018, after Donald Trump won the presidency, I decided to run for the state Senate when my longtime state senator retired. I was 27 when I won. I was the youngest member of the Iowa Senate at that time. But 7 years later, at the age of 34, even though I have more gray in my beard, I am still the youngest member of the Iowa State Senate.
Wow.
And I will tell you this, when we win in November, I will be the youngest member of the U.S. Senate, which I'm excited about.
That'd be great.
I would tell you, in our race, we do have a Democratic primary coming up here,
right,
in just a couple of weeks. I think there's a few things that I would say are some differentiators. Number one, I believe that having a new generation of leadership includes our own party, which is why early in the campaign, I made a promise that I will not support Senator Chuck Schumer to remain as the Democratic leader in the Senate.
Fine.
Right.
My view is that it's just going to be a heck of a lot harder for us to win in a state like Iowa when Senate Democrats are being led by Chuck Schumer, who said on television that our party can afford to just write off rural and blue collar voters because we're going to make that up in the suburbs. And, that math might work in New York, doesn't work in Iowa.
Well, I don't know that it works in any state. There are so many states that have rural areas, but the thing for me is the fact that, Schumer has been a good Democrat. And I think you can probably agree. He's been a good Democrat. He's done a lot of good things. We give, praise where it's due and criticism too. And this is where the criticism comes in. He was a great leader at a different time. The time is different now. Yeah. And the party needs to be better. And it needs to come in with new ideas and fresh ideas. And that doesn't mean that he's an awful person. It just means that he's not right for right now. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, and look, I'm not here to kind of relitigate the past. But what I would tell you is that, the Democratic Party is at our best when we fight for anybody who needs a champion. It does not matter who you are or where you are from. Since the New Deal, this is the party that has fought for workers' rights, civil rights, and women's rights for everybody.
Right.
That is who we are as a party. And so those are the core values that we're trying to reconnect with.
Right.
The second thing is that, and there's some difference here, Representative Turek talks about his election wins in previous elections. One of the things that makes us different, though, is that I've actually represented and won elections in small town and rural Iowa.
Right.
And I don't need to tell you guys, there are a lot of small towns and rural places in the state of Iowa where there are voters that we have lost, but who we can win back because this administration's policies have been so devastating for small town and rural Iowa that we have an opportunity here to win folks back if we have a candidate who can speak directly to the challenges, the issues that are facing those communities, who has a positive vision for the future of revitalizing and rebuilding what we have lost in small town and rural America. And that is something that I have a track record of doing in the legislature. And that is exactly what I'll do in the United States Senate. And that is how we're going to build the coalition that we need to win these folks back so we can actually begin that hard work.
Agreed.
You got my vote, but I don't live there.
Hey, I appreciate that. I will say, if there are folks who want to learn more about the campaign, we are going to be in Los Angeles next week.
Cool.
We'll be there on the evening of Wednesday, April 29th. If you want to learn more about that event, you can just go to zachwahls.com/LA, and that'll redirect you to a page that has more information.
Well, there are Iowans in all kinds of places, living all across the country. Look, I've got my Nebraska shirt on today because, Husker baseball, Husker softball, whatever. But, I did live in Iowa, too, at a time. And we were talking before you came in, Zach, about the fact that a lot of people have latent images of places and people that they used to know. I too, when I was 1980 and growing up as a kid, we lived there for about 3 years, and I have an image of Iowa, and then I have another image of Iowa when I was going to College in Cedar Rapids, Maid Rights and the slip and slur, as we jokingly called it, across the street from Co. As he smiles, like, yeah, you see, he knows it, he knows what I'm talking about. Here's the thing:
we were in Hiawatha like literally 2 days ago. So.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. I know exactly where Hiawatha is. See, I could drive you there. One of the biggest issues for Iowans today is the growing ag financial crisis. It's huge. And look, not only that, one of the major issues that so many people don't even think about, major issue for Iowans is water quality. We're talking because of the high levels of nitrates, the industrial ag operations that have really decimated a lot of the mom and pop farmers out there, and really made life harder for the water quality, water cleanup for your small towns as well as for the bigger cities. And I'm like, this is stuff that maybe not everybody knows about, but I know that it's important to Iowans because I still have friends there and I still have people that I know there. If you get to the U.S. Senate, what are some of the things that you would like to focus on? And you want to go more to the ag committees? You want to go more to some of the environmental stuff? I mean, how would you help out some of the help Iowans achieve and clean up some of these messes that have been left by two, Trump administrations and Republicans in Congress?
Yeah, Sean, let me just first of all say how much I appreciate you asking about this, because frankly, when we're talking to most national media, shows, outlets, this is not a topic that is even on their radar.
Why? Yeah.
For folks who are listening, Iowa is number one in the country right now in terms of how fast our cancer rates are rising.
That's not good.
We are number
Nitrates.
2 overall in terms of our cancer rate here in the state. Every event we do, we always ask, who here knows somebody battling cancer right now? Every single event, at least 3/4, sometimes more of the hands go up.
God.
And it was not always like this.
No,
and
it wasn't.
The thing that I want to emphasize on what you just said is that this was a policy choice 50 years ago.
Right.
In the Nixon administration, Dr. Earl Butz was the Secretary of Agriculture, and he said, our message to farmers is get big or get out, plant fence row to fence row.
Right.
This was what was coming down from Washington. It was reversing the New Deal approach that for 30 years had worked for Iowa in national agriculture. And the consequence of that is, you're exactly right. Farms have gotten bigger. The agribusiness side, so you're talking about your chemical manufacturers, your seed dealers. I mean, all of the implement manufacturers, all of these are bigger than they've ever been, more concentrated than they've ever been. And it has resulted in a food system, and I don't want to sound like, RFK Jr. here, but it is a food system that is working great for, these big corporations at the expense of the farmers who are still left. And it is true that most of them today are substantially larger than they were 20 or 30 years ago, because they have been doing what people in Washington have been telling them to do, which is to get their operations bigger and bigger.
Right.
And what that does is it limits opportunity for young Iowans who want to take over the family farm.
Right.
Means that it's harder to get the loan to buy the land. But the thing that they can get the loan for is to build a new hog building. And so now we have more hogs, more manure in the state than we've ever had before. Those nutrients, whether it's from manure or from fertilizer application, are getting into the water. And we know that that is directly linked to the cancer crisis. And so there are some Democrats who, look at what's happening and they point the finger at farmers rather than trying to understand the web of federal policy decisions that have been made, that these farm families are trapped in just as much as the rest of us. And so
Right.
the thing that we need to talk about is the consolidation, reversing this direction from DC and charting that new vision for the future of small town and rural Iowa. And that's something that I have the ability to do because I've actually represented these communities. I've served on that Ag committee in the state Senate. I will absolutely serve on it in the U.S. Senate. And we're going to try to chart a new course for the future of states like Iowa and Nebraska and every other state where agriculture is an important part of the economy. including
California, hi.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just it. Is that agriculture is important to just about every state. Every state has rural areas too.
You got to eat.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Exactly. And
And let me
go ahead.
Just here's one more stat that I feel like some folks don't know. In just the last 2 years, America has become a net food importer.
Yes.
Wow.
Think about that for a second, right? I mean, if a country can't feed itself, that is not only a national security threat and like
Yeah.
a very big level, but you just think about like your identity as a country, a
Right.
state like Iowa, state like California, Nebraska, like we pride ourselves on feeding ourselves and feeding the world. We literally cannot feed our own country at this point. It's a huge problem.
And it's what some folks don't understand is that the same problem that the movie and TV industry is facing with this stupid Paramount consolidation thing, Warner Brothers thing. It's the same set of problems that is affecting the farmers in Iowa. It's let the big corporations get even bigger, and so that there's one giant corporation that tells everyone, and you're like, what the hell do you need the government for at that point? Which I get, that's what the far right wants. But you're going, it's bad for everybody, big
Right.
cities or small towns.
Yeah, it's like again, so we keep talking about this. The reason why our message has been resonating with people across the political spectrum is because it speaks to something that they understand, they see in their own lives. Because that same pattern, Sean, is playing out in industry after industry after industry. You're seeing it in ag, you're seeing it in housing, you're seeing it in here's an example that we heard on the trail a few months ago. Fire truck manufacturing.
Really?
We learned, and I did not know this before we launched this campaign, the price for a new fire engine has tripled in the last decade because there is a single private equity company that has now consolidated 40% of the manufacturing in this sector. It's not just fire trucks, it's street sweepers, it's sewer vacs,
Right.
all these other specialty vehicles. And these are not optional expenses.
Right.
For local
No.
government, right?
You said those words, private equity, which I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah, and again, you see it in dermatology, you see it in dentistry, you see it in healthcare, and like,
Media.
That is the problem, where you see it in media. And
Airlines.
that is directly connected to the corruption of our politics, the Citizens United vision, the massive super PACs, which, and I mentioned this before he came on the air, there is a super PAC that is supporting my Democratic opponent in this race at the behest of Chuck Schumer, because that is how, these very powerful interests maintain control over the economy and over our politics. And so we need people who are willing to go straight at that problem, because the corruption problem and the economic problem are the same problem.
exactly. Look, we've seen a friend of ours, Kat Abagazela in Chicago. We saw that in her race. She came in second, but she still did fantastic. We've seen ways that we can be better. One of the things that I think is important is, Josh Turek, your Democratic opponent there. Ashley Henson, who I know Ashley Henson too. I'm not a fan.
Boy, I got
hers.
Ashley Henson stories for you. Holy God.
Off the air.
So we can talk about off the air. Exactly. But here, okay. So just among Democrats, what is one thing that you admit that you admire? You think, hey, Josh Turek does okay with whatever that you think is okay, and then one thing that you hope that his people like about you if you're the nominee, which we do hope you're the nominee, but
Just to be very clear, we got to win this race, whether
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Kirk wins the nomination or me, right? So if he wins, we'll be working everything that we can to help
Good.
Get him across the finish line.
Good.
But what I will tell you is it is going to be a hell of a lot easier to win this race with a nominee who can look voters in the eye and tell them, I don't know Chuck Schumer a damn thing. I'm not running for the U.S. Senate to work for Chuck Schumer or Donald Trump or Elon Musk and the billionaires and the big corporations. I'm running for the United States Senate because Iowans deserve a senator who works for us, who is willing to fight the tough fights that have to be battled to clean up this corruption. I was really proud to win the endorsement of my friend, Senator Elizabeth Warren, who actually texted me when she saw the anti-corruption,
Love her.
I love her. I love her.
That we released. She texted me personally. It's like, oh, Zach, I can tell that you wrote this. And it was true. I had a very big hand in writing it.
Well,
Because
look, you've got plans, man. You've got plans, and
Yeah.
we all know she has plans.
It sure does. So I mean, I think that would probably be that specificity, because I think voters really do crave substance. That's something I would hope that they would like. And with Josh, look, you got an incredible personal story. He's a hard worker, no doubt about it.
Right.
But I would say from our perspective, we got a better chance of winning. And if folks want to join us in LA, ZachWahls.com/LA.
And if you want to find out more about Zach, believe me, go to ZachWahls.com. He's freaking fantastic. Tell Chloe I said hello. Have fun with Elijah. Take 10
nice
minutes.
to see you
and
again,
have that.
Zach.
God, it's good to see you, man. Hopefully, okay, so you win this round, you come back and have another round here at the bar?
Absolutely. I'd love to. And I'll have a real drink this time.
Exactly.
Okay.
June 2nd is the Iowa primary. If you are not registered, get yourself registered
get
right
registered
now.
and vote.
Exactly. For Zach Wahls. Exactly.
For
Zach,
Zach.
thank you so much, man. We'll see you back here another time
Thank you
after
so
win
much.
the primary.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, brother. Peace, man.
Bye.
Zach Wahls here on the Friday night of the Politics Bar. Coming back with more of the news on tap. Hang on.
We'll be right back after we pay some bills at the Politics Bar.